Good evening. This is Hilarion. You may know me as a St. Paul. Hilarion is the name I am using currently. I just thought I would drop in this evening and give you all a little surprise. Please be comfortable and enjoy yourselves. I hope we will have an enjoyable evening together, discussing many wondrous, sacred things, many frivolous and enjoyable things. It is a time for sharing and enjoyment, a time for celebration and enthusiasm. Your days of trudging along the spiritual path, seeking the light at the end of the tunnel that always was so far in the distance, are past. Now, these days, there is a new agenda, a new enjoyment for you. You generally refer to this as the New Age. It is a new age. You find yourselves on the cusp of this new age, with one foot in the past and one foot in the future, sometimes. Feeling a little bit stretched, my friends? Or are we having an experience of joy and enthusiasm and excitement? Your own experience, you know, is your guide to whether you are on your path or not. Or shall I say, whether you are flowing with your missions, your earth missions. So I ask only that you breathe with me, as we have been so beautifully together. You know you are breathing, it generates a great deal of light. You thought that you were breathing to sustain life, but this is one byproduct of your breathing. Another is that you are light generators. And the more you breathe consciously, the more light is generated, and the more your auras grow and expand, and the more healing that you do for your surroundings, for yourself. So I come to give you a few of my perspectives this evening upon the Earth mission, upon the times that you find yourselves in. Hopefully I can inspire you a bit. At any rate, I will try not to confuse you any farther. So how to maintain your enthusiasm and focus, how to maintain your inspiration. This is very important to you. And I speak to you as one who has walked many lonely paths on the surface of the earth when I was in embodiment. I too had a mission, and I too spent many hours of questioning and going through my particular doubts and fears and uncertainties. I see you now as I see would see myself in my past. One thing that I learned many things, but I learned that upon one's sacred journey, there tends to be a feeling of being a little bit alone. There tends to be a feeling at times of questioning, of doubting whether you have taken the right choice or whether there truly is such a thing as ascension and enlightenment. And I too had to come to grips with finding the inspiration and the enthusiasm to continue to pursue and to push forward through those illusions and apparent obstacles and challenges. Just as you are now finding yourselves on your sacred journey, you each have heard to some extent the truth of the new age of manifesting, the truth of planetary ascension and personal ascension for each one, these opportunities. You are doing your best to integrate the new energies that have been flowing through over these last few years and which are again intensifying. So much is happening. And yet there are times for you when you might feel as I did perhaps, having left one city, having had many wonderful experiences of sharing the presence and the light, that which I was bringing through in my lifetime, having to make the choice to move on to another location, to another opportunity, and finding myself alone. Alone perhaps in the wilderness, in the darkness. Wondering what was ahead, wondering whether I should have stayed back where I had just come from. Pushing on into the unknown, just as you are pushing on into the unknown. You have many experiences of great joy and sharing, and you also have many times between these experiences where you find yourself alone and integrating and wondering what is going to happen next. You too are on your journeys. It is very strange, having the perspective I do now, looking back at my particular incarnations and all of those challenges that I went through in my path. It seems a little bit strange to me that one could ever be so limited, so unaware. Not that there is great judgment of past decisions or choices, only that there is somewhat of an amazement that one could be so divine and so in the dark at times. Perhaps some of you can relate to this. I find that the only sanctuary, and this holds true for those of us upon the higher dimensions, as I'm sure it does for you, the only sanctuary, the only safe haven for your consciousness is in your connection with the divine essence within you and within your giving yourselves to your earth missions. This is the source of enthusiasm, the source of inspiration. There is always the tendency for the mind to try to pull you backwards into previous patterns of belief and previous comfort zones, as you call them. I like that word, comfort zone. So we are all going into a new comfort zone now, and I assure you it is very comfortable. In fact, it is beyond comfort, it is bliss. But when you are between towns, between experiences, between worlds, between dimensions, there is always that tendency to puzzle, to seek to reach backwards into old patterns. But there is only going forward. There is only the new. There is only that beautiful experience that is yet to come, that is surrounding you with its presence and love, waiting for you to open and surrender to it. I will tell you that I have had some of my best meditations, at least my embodiment selves, in those times when I was alone, when I was in solitude, no distractions. And in going forward, you open yourself to your mission, you open yourselves to who you truly are, the unfoldment of that, and there is your comfort, and there is your sanctuary, and there is your new comfort zone. It is related to surrender, it is related to trust and faith, and experience of the divine, that which is sustaining you, that which never leaves. All of your experiences, all of your situations, all of your moments upon your sacred journeys, each one is like an opportunity for you, an opportunity to choose the divine essence over the external illusion, and an opportunity to strengthen yourselves for that which is to come by allowing perhaps a little bit of focus, a little bit of intensity of focus. I hesitate to use the word discipline. It has been misunderstood many times. But you will find in the long run, and when you have gained more and more perspective upon your earth lives, you will find that the challenges you overcome pave the way for the bliss and enjoyment and sharing that is the next step. So my dear ones, I am coming to you, not as some divine teacher from afar, but as a brother, perhaps an elder brother who has graduated in the previous class and is looking back with fond memories of his earth embodiments. I would like to share with you that love that I have discovered. Our journeys are so similar. Though each of you are unique, each of you are rather unique specimens of divinity, still there is that common bond that we share, that of being on a mission of spreading light and radiating truth, a mission of activation of souls. Do you not find yourselves, when you are in your light, radiating that light, do you not find yourselves activating the memories that are within those around you, the latent memories of their divinity? It is time for everyone to enjoy the experience of waking up and have the joy that comes with the reemergence of this family of light workers. Many, many lifetimes we have shared together. Now, in this time, many, many of you are going to have the opportunities that were given to few in the past, the opportunity for personal ascension and for the activation of others. It is what I would refer to as the icing on the cake of human life. There is no greater joy that one can experience than to radiate this light and love from the source, channel it as you might describe it in this day and age. This is what makes life worthwhile. Of course, there are many enjoyments, and of all the third-dimensional activities you can engage in, there are many pleasures and enjoyments. It is all quite wondrous. The whole creation spread out before you like a beautiful palette. You, the painter, the creator, taking the energies that you see, combining them in wondrous, unusual ways, adding your own light, creating a life. You're creating this life as it goes along, you know. You are creating it by your choices, by your awareness, by your beliefs. You are responsible this artistic endeavor you are engaged in, called living on earth, can be challenging, but it is also quite rewarding when you are adding the light to the mixture and allowing your higher self to flow through you, to take control, to show you the next step on your sacred journey, to nurture and support you. But what gives the joy and what gives the most enthusiasm and inspiration to those of you is your acceptance and acknowledgement and enjoyment of your own particular earth missions, as Ashtara loves to call them. I might call it your service. But each of you have many gifts and talents, many ways of sharing, I think you will find that of all of your earth experiences, this is what is most enjoyable. Channeling your own divine higher self through your being in whatever way is appropriate to you, whatever gifts you have. This is your time. This is your wake-up call. You know, it's like when you are channeling or when you are engaged in a creative endeavor, creating. Generally, you do not really know what is going to come through exactly. You get little bits of information or little bits of inspiration, little suggestions or flashes of insight, and you begin to follow those and act upon those. There is a moment of trust that is involved. There is a great deal of trust that is involved with giving yourself to this process. Your mind tends to want to know where you're going to end up before you even start, does it not? Your mind, your ego that wishes to control always, to control, to keep you in a safe comfort space. It doesn't like the uncertainty of giving yourself to the unknown. But if you never take that first step to follow that inspiration, you will never find out what occurs next, and what occurs next, and what occurs next. And you will never perhaps have the opportunity to create that beautiful divine expression that is yours to create. There is much of fear that is still prevalent in the world. It is always tending to knock upon your doors with its arguments and logical reasons why you should keep yourselves limited and don't go too far out on a limb, why you should not engage yourself or commit yourself to something that is a little beyond your previous limitations. This aspect is always there. It is always waiting to tell you to hold back and to wait. Let's just wait and see. Unfortunately, we find ourselves with an entire planet here of beings that have been saying for lifetime after lifetime, well, let's just wait and see. And they have waited and waited, and now they are going to see. I hope they do not see too late for their own ascension opportunities. On the other hand, you have the opportunity to take some steps, to follow your hearts, to follow your spirits, to open to the divine that is within you, and to allow it to direct you with its wondrous inspirations and messages and feelings, and to see where that leads you. This is how you find out what your earth mission is, you know. You know how you find out what it is? By doing it. I don't think anyone is going to sit you down and say, well, my friend, I have it figured out. This is what your earth mission is. This is what it is. This is what it is going to feel like when you do it. This is what is going to happen, and this is how you will succeed, and paint you the entire picture of it ahead of time. Though many of you perhaps would enjoy this. I think if this were to occur, some of you would be quite shocked. There's no way I could possibly do that. But generally it occurs to you and comes to you in little steps, in little ways, and following your feelings and opening to that which you love in your heart, to that which you feel drawn to and attracted to. It is never a path of sacrifice. It is only a path of more and more enjoyment. Sometimes you need to surrender a little bit to the next step, when you feel stretched a little bit. But it is always a path of an enjoyment, because it is a path of you. And each of you are such beautiful lights, such wondrous beings. Like blossoms opening, each with a unique fragrance and a beautiful coloring. Some of you are a little bit reticent to open, maybe a little afraid that it won't be quite as sunny as you might like. I tell you, it is going to be so sunny where you are going, you are all going to need that sunblock stuff. Maybe some shades, maybe a beach umbrella. There is so much light that is within you, waiting to pour forth upon this planet and upon those beings that you encounter. I ask you to let it out. I ask you to open yourselves to the possibility that you can be in joy and enthusiasm, that you can contact in a very powerful way your own higher selves in a continuous way, and merge with that, and in doing so merge with the Creator Himself. This is the challenge I place before you. Believe me, I understand. Each of you have your own paths, your own ideas and feelings and beliefs. And I have experienced each of them myself. Nevertheless, I must say the time is now to open. Give yourself to the earth mission that you chose in coming here. You know that all of this energy that is pouring down through the earth plane at this time, the number one priority of all of this energy is to activate the star seeds and the light workers that are here. It is a time of activation and remembrance, remembering who you are beyond what your parents might have told you or your teachers, beyond what you might feel you are based upon one earth incarnation. What are you beyond that? What are you throughout all of your incarnations? What are you before you chose to come to earth? This is the mystery that you need to unfold, and it is the source of your joy. It is time to release your identification with third-dimensional limitations. The only way that you can do this gracefully is by opening to that which you truly are. For you need to accept the new as you release the old. This is not simply a path of processing and releasing old energies that are dense or painful or limited. That is part of it, but there is a reason for this. There is a reason why all of this processing has occurred, why it will continue to occur as much as is required for each. It is because there is a divine, wondrous self that is longing to express as a master on the earth. So your higher selves are asking you to get on with it now. While your limited beliefs may tell you that I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, or I don't know where I'm going and I'm afraid, or I am confused, or how do you do it and maybe I'll do it wrong. Believe me, I have thought every one of those thoughts 1,000 times. We all have. It's part of the challenge that is to be overcome by having a physical embodiment. It is the test of faith and the test of trust and the test of your knowingness. It is necessary. It is necessary for you to think those thoughts and feel those ways. And it is necessary for you to master yourself sufficiently to overcome limited beliefs and fears and doubts. And it is necessary for you to contact the enthusiasm and joy that is within you for your mission. Your mission of being light and love radiators. And this is where the source of enthusiasm and joy lies. So how are you all doing this evening?
Great.
Have I shocked anyone yet? Everyone is so quiet, you know. Sometimes it is hard to believe, you know, when you find yourself sitting here in a very peaceful living room on a dark autumn evening. It is very difficult to realize what is occurring. Sometimes difficult to believe it. Difficult at times to believe that there is truly going to be an ascension that you are going to experience. This is why we continually come through to remind you, doing our best to keep you enthusiastic and enjoying yourselves. It's going to get more and more intensified, all of these experiences of growth and these activations. More and more is going to be coming through for you. And this will result in, if you are opening to your higher self, an experience of more and more joy and love. Some of you are experiencing this to a great deal. Are you not feeling much more free and liberated than you were just a few months ago? Don't answer that.
Yes.
And there are always opportunities for resistance, are there not? It's part of the path. Those of us who are working with you, and we are many, have an understanding, perhaps even greater than your own, for you are somewhat still enmeshed in your third-dimensional realities. It's a little bit difficult being between the worlds, is it not? Mm-hmm. Feeling fifth-dimensional at one moment and completely physical in another can be kind of confusing. Sort of makes you want to be one or the other, doesn't it? Don't want to be cosmic yo-yos any longer. Well, being a cosmic yo-yo is part of the path, you see. You have to learn by your experiences, and sooner or later the yo-yo on the upswing tends to stick in those higher dimensions. You get the hang of things, you get the hang of surrendering, you get the hang of letting go. And the challenges, as Archangel Michael was referring to last week as hurdles, the challenges are still there for you, but there is a shift that takes place within you that is quite empowering. It is a commitment. It is almost something on an energetic level. For mentally many, and perhaps all of you have committed yourselves to being enlightened beings and ascended beings. There is another shift that takes place on an energetic or on a deeper level. something like turning a key in a lock, something like when you were on an airplane flying across country, something that is like the point of no return, where it takes more energy to turn around and go back than it does to keep going. We are all at the point of no return, I think, realizing it. And it is that point when you might feel yourselves beginning to take off a little bit. Might feel a little bit of a weightlessness. It's something like learning to fly. What do they do out here? Hang gliding. Something like learning to be a hang glider, a pilot, I assume. Getting the hang of riding the currents. That first leap is probably quite frightening. But once that leap is accomplished, and you begin to soar, I would imagine that it is quite invigorating and enjoyable. So I think that many, many human beings now are finding themselves in the point of standing with their hang gliders at the ready, all strapped in and ready to go, looking down a 1,000-foot cliff, wondering how to get their courage up to actually make that leap. It is a leap of faith. I only come to encourage you all to jump because the soaring is so much fun. And the currents are currents of love. And it is a gentle and beautiful experience, not to be bound to previous limitations. But you have to make that leap. You have to make that commitment. You have to surrender yourselves to going through and going over the challenges and giving yourselves to your meditations. Giving yourself to the path that leads within you. And this is the only way you will find the divine. It is not going to come from without. If you are waiting for God to come from the sky and say, hello, Mr. or Mrs. So-and-so, how are you doing? Come with me. In fact, we are coming from the sky, so to speak. In this way, and this evening, we are inviting you to come with us. As you can see, we are quite invisible. And in fact, if you are attuned within yourselves, you will feel our presence. And you will be inspired to go within and to find that divinity. That is where your path lies. It is always internal to you, your source of grace and strength and enthusiasm and joy. And you might feel it enhanced when you approach others and share. When you are in company such as this, you might feel the enhancement of that experience of joy and peace and love. But the source of it is always from within yourself. And if you will give yourselves to meditation, use the tools that have been provided. Focusing upon your own breath is an ideal meditation. You will make dramatic progress on your sacred journey. And you will know that you are not bound to any external phenomenon for your source of satisfaction and your source of enthusiasm and joy. You can be in enthusiasm and joy and in a deep state of peace, even in the midst of this third-dimensional reality. That is your path. That is your journey. It always begins by going within yourself There's no getting around that. There's no getting around that meditation practice. If you wish to fully integrate the energies that are coming through now and fully maximize the opportunities that are here. This is not a path that is external, that is those who are the most beautiful or the most intelligent or the most this or that, the most accomplished in any particular external field. All of that means nothing to God. What God is waiting for is your attention. You are giving yourself to Him in that inner silence and peace, offering your heart, feeling that mergence that takes place. So, my friends, don't sit around and be bored. There is no reason to be bored now. This is quite an enjoyable and exciting time. There is going to be more stimulation coming to you from both within and without. I suggest you learn to attune yourselves to the stimulation that you are receiving now from within. Then you can bypass having to receive more profound stimulations from without. Open yourselves. Give yourselves to this love that is within you. Your sacred journey. Believe me, it will be very precious to you. If it is not precious to you now, if it is something you are trying to escape, trying to get out of, I understand this. I have felt that myself many times. I tell you, once you have experienced the ascension and returned to your higher dimensional states, you will view your earth service in a new light. You will see it as the opportunity that it was. So try to have a little bit of that perspective now and view it as an opportunity. It is an opportunity, a golden opportunity. Well, before you all fall asleep, I will ask if there are any questions for me this evening. I'll give you the opportunity to share your perspective. No one's home.